Hi everyone, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. So today I'm making a Mediterranean style home because it's not a style I build in very often, and I was just in the mood to build something a little different. And I also want to show Oasis Springs some love because I don't really build in that world a whole lot either. So we are of course building this Mediterranean family home in Oasis Springs. And it's just a very cozy little family home. Like, I was in the mood to build something a little bit smaller, so it's got 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, standard living area type stuff, so nothing too fancy about it. That's why I decided to just call it Cozy Mediterranean Home. And I think the last time I built a Mediterranean style home was maybe almost 4 years ago, because I know not that long after The Sims 4 came out, I built this Mediterranean mansion. And I could be wrong, but I think that's actually the last time I made a home in this style, and if so, that is just way too long, so I just wanted to revisit this style once again, because it is just a really nice style. It's not one I do very often, so it is a little out of my comfort zone, but I do have a lot of fun just building in different styles, because if you build the same style house over and over again, it does get a little old, so it's always good to switch it up every so often. But here I've got the basic structure of the house pretty much done, and we're just going in, I think, figuring out we're gonna start figuring out the floor plan at this point, but I was just kind of adding a little bit to the exterior because I realized it was very boxy and needed a little bit more to the shape, so I added that turret in. We also got that area out of the back because I realized prior to that it was probably going to be a little bit too small. Like, we would have only been able to have space for maybe like 2 bedrooms, so I just wanted to add a little bit more to it than that. And here I'm just trying to figure out the chimney situation because I wanted to use that one, but it just looked a little bit awkward on this house. So what I've been doing lately is just using these ones from Seasons and then putting them in a half wall, because I think that gives a nice look of a chimney. It also works really well for if you want to have a chimney, but you don't want to have it just coming really high up out of the house, because I usually like to just make my own chimney, so it just works super well for that. Here I'm just finishing up the roof, and for the roof texture, I just went with the one that came with the base game. I was originally planning on using the one from Jungle Adventure, but once I put on the house, I realized it didn't really fit in with where it was, because the house is in this suburban type neighborhood, and that roof, I feel, it looks a little bit rougher, more like something you would see in a rural area, so I just thought it didn't really fit in with the environment, and plus like all the other houses in this neighborhood have that same roof, so figured I might as well make it fit in. But now we're on to the floor plan, and I usually make the floor plans for my homes before I put in all of the windows and doors on the outside, just because I like to see where all of the rooms are going to be situated before I finish that up, because I don't want to put a big window in somewhere and then decide that's where I'm going to stick a bedroom, because I know it doesn't really matter to The Sims, but I don't like having huge windows that are going to expose you to the whole world in bathrooms or bedrooms, or at least on the front side of the house in bedrooms. I mean, on the back side of the house, like, I guess it doesn't matter as much because usually you have a little bit more privacy back there, but yeah, I also just don't want to have to like rearrange windows because I decided I want to stick a wall like halfway through a 2 tile wide window or anything like that. So it's just a little bit easier to lay out the rooms before finishing that up. So right now we're just going in and finishing up the roof or the windows. So I swapped out the windows on the turrets for just these larger ones, just to make it feel a little bit more special, so you get a nicer view all the way around from that area, because I just thought that would look a lot better when you're doing, like when I'm doing the fly through, or just if you're playing the game and you want to just have a nice atmosphere, I guess. I don't know, it's not really a huge deal, but that was why I ended up doing that. So now I'm just trying to figure out where to stick the stairs back here, because I put the sliding doors off to the side rather than on the back of it, which would probably have been the best spot for it, but the door's 2 tiles wide, and then that was like 5 tiles wide, so it would have been off center. I didn't really like that, so I just decided it would be better to stick one on each side. And that whole space, like that whole part of the house, was a little bit awkward to figure out what to do with, because I was originally going to make that the kitchen and then make the room because the room that's to the right of the stair, or not the right, the left of the stairs is going to be the kitchen, but my original plan was to make that like a study, and then to make that area that's extended out of the back of the house like a combo kitchen / dining area. But I just realized that because of the dimensions of it, it would have been kind of awkward, because I would have had to, because I also wanted to have the sliding door, so I had to kind of figure out how to arrange everything, and it would have been weird because I probably would have had to have a kitchen just along the back wall of the room, which I didn't really want to do. So I decided that since this house is very large, it just made a lot more sense to make the kitchen its own room off to the side, and then use that area as, I use it as a combo dining room / study area. So in the end, I think that worked out pretty well. I just didn't want to make that whole area super cramped for no good reason when I could just put the kitchen somewhere else and space things out in the house a little bit more. Here I'm just adding in some columns to this area in the back, and I almost forgot that these columns existed because these were ones that came with base game, but there's just this whole set of items that I almost forgot about because I hardly ever build in this style, as I said before. And I just really liked how all of these, like the Mediterranean build items, looked on this house. Although the thing that does bug me about the columns is that they overhang over the foundation a little bit. And I was hoping that that was something that would be a little less obvious once I put in the plants, and that did help, but unfortunately you can still definitely notice it. And I really wanted to stick with using that foundation because I thought it worked the best with this house out of all of them. And I also think we're going to be getting some more Mediterranean styled items with Get Famous. I don't think there's a ton, but I believe I saw some windows and doors and some fencing. Like, I think it's in that, like, just like a fancier style with iron detailing. So they're really pretty. Like, I didn't get a super close look at them because, as I've said in past videos, when I was building at Sims Camp, I just kind of rushed through things and didn't really get a close look at them. And I know other people I went to Sims Camp with have put up build and buy reviews, but I feel bad about it, but I haven't really watched them because I just wanted to save going through everything with a fine-tooth comb for when I get the game on my own computer. Because usually whenever I do overviews, like the item overviews for packs, I tend to look at things really closely then. Although I know I didn't do one for seasons, but I'm definitely gonna do one for this pack once I get the game. So you can expect an overview for Build and Buy and Create a Sim to be up at some point next week. Once I finish that, probably I'm shooting to have it up Wednesday, and then after that, I'm gonna be making a Beverly Hills mansion for my Let's Play. So I'm not sure how long that's gonna take to make because it's a mansion. That's probably gonna take me a while, but I'm thinking I'm also gonna make that in more of a Mediterranean style because I was looking at pictures of Mediterranean homes for inspiration, or not Mediterranean, Beverly Hills homes. I feel like I've been saying Mediterranean so much in this commentary, but yeah, I was just looking at pictures of celebrity homes for a little bit of inspiration, and I noticed that there are, of course, a lot of more Mediterranean-styled homes in Los Angeles, so I wanted to go with that sort of a style for it, because I know there's homes in that style. There's also Mediterranean, or not, oh my god, why can I not stop saying Mediterranean? There's also modern homes, and then there's a more, I'm not sure what I would call it. Like, I think it's still got some European or Mediterranean influence to it, but it's a little bit more elegant feeling, I would guess. Although I would say Mediterranean homes are elegant too, but you might know what I mean. Like, there's just that other kind of style of home that you see in Beverly Hills a lot, but I think I'm gonna go with a more Mediterranean style. So anyway, with that, I'm just going to try out those new items, and it's going to be very fancy and bougie, of course, so I'm really excited to make that. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use the terrain tools with it, because when I was looking at pictures, I noticed that a lot of those homes were on essentially flat lots, and also the world around the lots are flat, because I was going to build it in the pinnacles, of course. So I just don't know if it's really going to work well to try to put it up on a hill, because I wanted to have a very landscaped yard that has a pool and some other activities in it, like maybe a basketball court or something along those lines. So I just don't think that's going to work well with making a bunch of hills and such, but I'll definitely use, if I don't use terrain tools with that build, I'll definitely be using them with builds in the future. I'm just not so sure about that one. But yeah, for my Let's Play, rather than having a sim start in Mirage Park and work their way up from the very bottom, I'm actually going to be starting off with a sim who's already living in a mansion, because I just, like, the thing I'm excited for is just playing around with celebrity scandals and all the ridiculousness that can come with that. And I know if I start at the bottom, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to get to that point where I just have, like, a really famous sim who's got some issues, maybe bad reputation. So I just want to start off from that right from the bat so we can experience that. But I'm also going to have a sim in the household who is starting from the bottom, so I'll be playing around with different celebrity levels. So I'm really, really excited for what I have in mind for this Let's Play. And, yeah, I hope once I start that you will enjoy the storyline I've come up with, because, yeah, I think it's definitely a pretty juicy one, so I'm looking forward to getting into that, exploring the acting career and all of that, because I didn't really get much of a chance to do anything with that while I was at Sims Camp. Like, I actually didn't do anything at all with it. I also didn't get to spend much time with the first person camera mode, which was announced this week. I got about 2 minutes of footage on it, but I didn't make it into a video because 2 minutes isn't really, I didn't think that was enough to make a decent video, and I didn't want to be like, oh, here's like a 2-minute long video of me showing this or loop the footage over and over again. Like I just didn't think it was worthwhile. I didn't think it'd be anything good to watch. I know other people got really good footage of it, so I just thought I would leave it to them to show it and do a better job than I could have with what I got. And only about a minute of what I got was actually useful because for whatever stupid reason, I left the interaction menu open for a whole minute of it. I don't know why I did that. Like, I clicked to have Sim do some interaction, then I just left it open like that, but I just got like a minute or two of my Sim just fighting with other Sims and throwing drinks in their faces and stuff like that. Like, that's just what I decided to do with it, and it is pretty cool. Like, what do you all think of this feature? Like, I'd say I'm mildly excited about it. Like, I'm not jumping from the rooftop about it, you know, over the moon excited about it, but I'm also not, like, I'm also not displeased with it. Like, it's not something I ever expected to get in the game. So I think it'll be interesting to have in the game, but it's not something I'm nearly as excited for as I am for terrain tools, and I'm not sure how much I'm going to use it. I might use it on occasion in my Let's Plays, but I don't want to use it too much because I know it does make some people nauseous, so I don't want to make the videos hard to watch in that way. But I don't know, if there's something cool going on, I might just pop into it for like 30 seconds or a minute just to see that. But yeah, I'm really not sure how much I'm going to use it. Like, it might be something I use every so often. Like, I use more in the first couple of weeks after it's out, and then after that I just kind of forget about it and never use it. But I know some people are really excited about it, so I'm happy for them that they're getting something that they're so excited about. I know some people aren't really super pleased with it, and that's fine too. Like, everyone has their different opinions and different things they like to see in the game, but I think it's a really cool bonus that they're adding into an already big patch, because we're getting the terrain tools, we're getting the fashion career, we're also getting the ability to make our Sim self-employed and that whole new tutorial thing, which is very exciting. But I think for new people playing the game, it could be pretty useful. But at this point, the outside of the house is pretty much done, and as you can see, the backyard of the house is very landscaped. Like, every square inch of it is filled with something, and that's just because the yard is very small, and I wanted to have a pool and a hot tub, an area for kids to play. And when I put all of that in, there was just 1 or 2 tiles of space around it, so I just figured it made a little bit more sense to fill that in with plants rather than trying to leave grass. And the yard is definitely very nice, so I guess it wasn't true when I said there isn't a whole lot that's fancy about this house, because that yard is definitely very fancy. Like, I would like to have a yard like that, although I don't know, I guess I would also like to have a little bit more screen space than that. But I don't know, just, you know, just having the nice pool area and the hot tub would be kind of cool to have. But at this point, we are on to the inside of the house, so I'm just figuring out the flooring that I'm going to use and the wallpaper I'm going to use and all of that. So we got this flooring from Jungle Adventure, which I haven't been using a whole lot, but I have been wanting to use that more. And also, as you saw, the area right above is open, so I put that one light that came with Jungle Adventure in there and just sized it up because I thought that was just a really nice look for that, because I do like making the open entry areas to houses just to make it feel a little bit more elegant and special, and just adding some windows in here because I realized the entrance area was a little bit dim, and I didn't like just having the walls next to the window, or the windows next to the door, because that door unfortunately doesn't let in a whole lot of light. So that just helped a lot. And something I have noticed recently is that when you put a light in the upper level and you have it open, it no longer filters down to the lower level. And I don't know how long that's been going on. I noticed that in the last build I did too, but it's really annoying, and I hope that's something they fix maybe in the patch next week, because something I really like about this game versus The Sims 3 is that when you have a light on a different level, it actually filters. Because one thing that did bug me about building The Sims 3 is that the light would not transfer between levels. So you could have one level lit up like a Christmas tree, and then a level that's open below would have absolutely nothing. So you had to go and use those by debug lights. So yeah, I was really glad they fixed that for this game, but apparently for whatever reason it went backwards. So let's hope they fix that. At this point, I've gotten the main pieces of furniture for the living room figured out, so I mixed the love seat and chairs that came with the Caribbean patch with that one couch that I think came with the base game. I think it was the one that's unlocked through the Tech Guru career, I believe. So yeah, I just mixed those together because I wanted to try to use items from different sets because for whatever reason I don't always like just picking everything from the same exact set and just putting it all down. Like I like being a little bit more creative with it and trying to mix and match items that have come with different packs to try to get a little bit more of a unique setup, I suppose. But yeah, I was surprised by how well these fit together because I didn't realize that sofa came in an orange color, but the orange color that it came in goes so well with the yellow and orange on the pillows of that couch. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with that, although I don't think that furniture exactly goes with this Mediterranean style, but I think it still works pretty well. So yeah, I'm glad I did that instead of just chucking down the Seasons couches, which was my original plan. And apart from that, we just got some plants and clutter in here. Like I was putting some toys on the coffee table because there are 2 children's bedrooms in this house, so I figured they would probably leave their toys throughout the house a little bit. Like it's not going to be perfectly clean, so I was trying to show that a little bit. And then I decided I wanted to add in this china cabinet or hutch that came with Jungle Adventures, but after putting it, I realized it was a little cramped, so I was trying to move things forward in hopes that Sims could fit between the couch and that, but I don't think they actually can. I think it's fine though, because I'm pretty sure they can get around the chair to get into where the couches are and all of that, so I don't think they actually need to go around that way, so I don't think it's a big deal that that's kind of blocked off. But right now I'm furnishing the dining room / study area. This is, like I said before, this is kind of an awkward shaped room because I feel like for a house of this size, this would be way too big to be the dining room. Like it's definitely out of proportion from the rest of it. So I thought that putting in a desk over here, making a study area would help to balance that out a little bit more. So it's not just this massive dining room in this otherwise medium-sized or maybe a little bit smaller house. So I think that helped with that a lot. And plus, I just wanted to figure out somewhere I could put in a computer anyway because I just want to have some skill building items. And plus, that's just a really useful item to include in builds. There aren't really a ton of skill building things in this house. You do have the chess table that's on the deck, and then I think I also put an easel out there. But apart from that, there's not really a whole lot. But I figure if you wanted to add more things in, you could probably find space to put in. Like you might be able to fit in some other stuff outside, or you could probably swap out some stuff I put in the bedrooms to add more of that in if you want. Or you might be able to like get rid of the bookshelf and put something in. I don't know. There's not really a whole lot of space, but I think you could make it work if there was a few more things you wanted to add in. I wasn't really thinking of a specific family when I was making that, so that's kind of why I left things. I mean, they're not super generic, but they're definitely more generic than it would be if I had a specific family in mind. But yeah, I definitely want to do more of those builds where I make it for a certain family and then I have a creative sim to go with in the future. So once all the craziness of the Get Famous release is over with, I'll probably go back to that. And I also wanted to make some houses for like families that kind of have to do with that expansion pack, like some, you know, families with a little bit of a fame storyline or desire to be famous. Like one thought I had was that it'd be fun to make a household of like 3 or 4 young adults who are moving to Del Sol Valley to make it big, and then I could make a house in Mirage Park for all of them. I thought that could be really cool. And then also on another speed build, I think it was Troy who suggested that I make a home for a suburban mommy blogger. So I thought that would be kind of a cool thing to do. So I was thinking I could have a room in the house that's like her office with that editing desk set up, and maybe she can also be a bit of a gamer too. So yeah, those are a couple ideas that I might put to use like once all that craziness is over with. And then I also wanted to do more townie makeovers and townie home makeovers. I don't know, there's just a whole lot I want to do and not enough time. Like I always say that's definitely like the struggle for me because I do love building. And I really wish I could get builds up more frequently than I do, but they do take time and I have other stuff going on in my life. So yeah, unfortunately about once a week is the most I can get a build up unless I do a bunch of really quick things. But I have been trying to upload more builds lately, so I have been doing them once a week lately. So I'm hoping I can keep that up, but yeah, I'm not sure if that's really gonna happen. Because I also want to make different types of videos. But yeah, at this point, I've got the kitchen mostly finished up. So as you can see, there's a small breakfast nook area in that turret part of the house. So I thought that would be a really cute use of the space. And the kitchen's also very cramped, but I really like it. Like I like the color scheme that I picked out for it. I think it looks very cute, like with the blues and the yellows. And we are already on to the top level. So I just crammed a washer and dryer into this area in here because I have been trying to put laundry stuff in my builds. And there wasn't really a whole lot of space in this house for that, so I figured that was kind of the best way to do that, but apart from that, this area is just kind of hang it area. Like, you got a couch, you got a bookshelf, but if you do want to add in more kids' toys or skill building items, this would probably be a good spot to put that in. Like, you could swap out the couch for something else, like maybe some more toys or something along those lines, because as I said, there are 2 children's bedrooms in this house, but I didn't end up getting a whole bunch of skill building activities for kids in here, so that is one way you could use that space. And we're on to the first of the bedrooms. This one is probably my favorite. I just really like the orange color scheme that it has. I feel like it just looks really cute, and in this turret area over here, I added one of these bay window seats. So I didn't use this one, I used this one. And I just thought that worked so well with everything else in the room, and I feel like that would just make a really cozy little reading nook. So, I mean, I was kind of thinking that the sim who has this room is maybe very studious. They're maybe into reading a bit. There's not a whole lot, as I said, there's not a whole lot to really personalize this room in terms of interest, but if you have like a specific sim you want to put in this, you could definitely try to personalize it a little bit more. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of space to add things in, but you might be able to add in some smaller objects here and there. I just really liked how this bed with seasons looked in here, because I feel like that coloring of the bed kind of goes with the whole Mediterranean vibe of this house, like with the colors and that pattern that's on it. I don't think that's exactly like specifically made to be like a Mediterranean influence thing, but either way, it just works really well. And then throwing in some clutter and a toy chest over in that area. And if you do have a household with a teen in it, I think this room could also be a really good teen room. Like if you took away all the toys and maybe changed out some of the posters for ones that are a little bit more childish, because I didn't make it heavily a child's room, and then the other room I feel is a similar thing where you could very easily use it for a teen if you wanted to. But now we're furnishing the main bathroom, and I had a little bit of trouble trying to figure out what shower color I wanted to use, because I had that floral one there for a bit, but I just wasn't really happy with it. I feel like it didn't really go with the rest of the bathroom very well. So in a bit, I did go in and swap it out for that shower tub combo that came with the base game. So I think I'm doing that here. Yeah, here it is. And I actually used it in this coloring with the pink tiles, which I don't normally do, but I thought that pink color of it just went really well with everything else that was in the bathroom. We're now into the second bedroom, and this one has more of a blue and orange color scheme to it. And it's definitely less cutesy than the other bedroom was. But I do like how it turned out. I did use some of the same items that I used in the other one. Like I used the same end table, I used the same desk, I used the same curtains. I think there's a few other items I copied over from the other room. And I did end up using that same end table from Juggle Avengers for all the bedrooms, just because I really liked how it looked in all the rooms. Like, I just really like that table in general, and I haven't been using it a whole lot recently, so that's something I want to try to use more, and this is a build that it definitely suited. But apart from that, this room definitely has a more of a dark wood kind of a look to it, whereas the other room had a lot more lighter woods. And then I used that dresser from Cats and Dogs, which maybe doesn't exactly fit in here, but I had used so many things that I used in the other room that I just didn't want to end up using the same dresser, because I was thinking about using the Parenthood one, but yeah, I think that one fit in pretty well. I stuck this Boy Critter station here, but I did end up taking it out in a little bit because I was kind of worried about Sims being able to navigate this room. Like, I wasn't sure if they'd actually be able to use it. And I know sometimes there are things in my builds that don't work, but in general, I try to be conscious of how Sims can use things in my build. So, you know, I'm fairly knowledgeable about what works and what doesn't, depending on how you place things. So I try my best to not purposely make things useless. And here we got this clutter item. Now, unfortunately, because I placed that, your Sims can't use the dresser, but there is a mirror right above it that does essentially the same things. So I didn't think that was a big deal. It does bug me a little bit about how that clutter item makes it so some things are useless. Like, it's kind of weird because in the other room, they can still sit in that couch, even though I intersected it with that, but some things like the dressers don't work. If you also get it kind of close to the head of the bed, they can't get into bed. I don't know why that is, and I kind of wish they had it so that, like, they had it coded so Sims could just always walk over that, because it's floor clutter. You know, it makes sense that you're gonna kind of step over it a little bit, so I don't like how it makes some things unusable. But here we're on to the second bathroom, or the master bathroom, and we just got the basic bathroom stuff. I also stuck the litter box in there because that was another thing I wasn't sure about where to place. So, I don't know, I just figured that was kind of the best spot to put it. But now we're on to the master bedroom, which is the last room in the house. So I ended up going with this bed from Seasons. And I was really tempted to use the matching swatch for it that I used for the child's bedroom, but I didn't want things to look too identical between the bedrooms, so I just ended up going with this brighter blue one, and then I just tried to mix in some of the items that came with Jungle Adventure to give it a little bit more of that Mediterranean influence, since I didn't end up using one of the beds that go in that style more, because I also thought about using the Jungle Adventure bed, but I didn't want it to look like the bed from this room matched the one from the child's bedroom. But anyway, we are getting pretty close to the end of the building part, so as usual, if you want to download this, there will be a link to do so in the description. There will also be other stuff in there, how to find it in-game, so that's going to be all from me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and bye!